I'll tell you what. I want to pray with you folks tonight. I already got a brother that wants to pray. I want to pray with anybody who is chemically addicted, anybody's alcohol addicted. Not that I was going over to this section thinking y'all are. I just happen to be over here. Sorry. Choir. I want to pray with you tonight. When we have altar service, I want to pray with you. So don't forget, come and pray with me. I want to pray with you. I want you to pray with me. The reason I have the Holy Ghost is because of my very best friend. His name is William Hugh Stevens. We just call him Huey. Give you an idea what old Huey looks like. He's about my size, just a little guy. Hey, don't laugh, folks. Don't you? I'm littler than I used to be. Didn't any of you folks notice? I've lost 75 pounds since I've been here. 75 pounds! It wasn't easy, though. I had a bypass. I had to bypass McDonald's, Burger King, all them places. Well, you think it's easy to lose weight? No. But old Huey, he's my best friend in the world, and like I said, he's probably bigger than me now. He's wears a big old bushy beard. He's got his head shaved from here up, so he's bald on top, a big beard down here, and he wears a little miniature spark plug in his ear, a little earring that's a spark plug. He's a mechanic. He loves to work on stuff. He loves to work on motorcycles and boat motors and car engines. He's the most mechanically inclined person I've ever seen in my life. He has 5 Harley-Davidson motorcycles, and he loves to work on them things. And he likes to go hunting and fishing, all those He-Man things. We have nothing in common. Because I can't stand working on old cars and getting my hands dirty, although I will out of necessity. And I do all my fishing down at the local Kroger store. And don't y'all laugh, I never come home empty-handed one time. But old Huey's my buddy, and he don't call me Greg or call me McCool. He calls me Cool, which I don't mind. Folks, if the name fits, wear it. What can I say? But he's originally from Kentucky, had moved up to Michigan where I used to live, and he moved up there to work in the car factory. So he's no hillbilly boy. But he came up to me one time and said, "Cool, I want to talk to you." I said, "What do you want to talk about?" He said, "Oh, you're going to get mad." I said, "I ain't going to get mad at you. You're my buddy." He said, "No, you're going to get mad." I said, "I ain't going to get mad at you. You're my friend." He said, "No, you're going to get mad." I said, "Man, you're making me mad saying I ain't going to get mad. Now, what you got on your mind?" He said, "Okay, I'll tell you, but you're going to get mad." I just looked at him and shook my head. He said, "Cool, look at yourself." He said, "You're an alcoholic. You're a drug addict." He said, "You and Mary Jo fixing to get a divorce, and your family's splitting up." He said, "You're not picking guitar like you used to, and you're not singing like you used to. You know, all your friends are calling you a junkie behind your back." Because you see, at that particular time, I was doing $2,000 worth of crack cocaine a week. I was a drug dealer. I was an alcoholic drinking a quart of whiskey every day of the week. And he said, "All your friends are calling you names." He said, "It makes me fight and mad." He said, "You know what I would do if I was you?" And folks, by that time, I was mad. But you know why I was mad? Because he was acting like he knows everything. And people who think they know everything get on the nerves of us people who really do. Don't they? He said, "I'll tell you what I'd do if I was you, Cool." He said, "I'd quit that job down at the bar and get me a regular job somewhere. And I'd get away from all the alcoholics and drug addicts you hang around with. And I'd take my wife and kids and I'd move away from this place so fast. Maybe move down south or something, get away from it all." I said, "That's easy for you to say, Huey. I can't just up and move down south." So kind of went in one ear and out the other. And folks, when there ain't a whole lot in the middle, it's real easy. Well, I never thought much about it until 7 days later I got a call from Reverend Spencer McCool. Now, if that name sounds familiar, he's one of the preaching McCool brothers. And it's not really strange that he would be calling me, being that we're kinfolk, but that particular juncture in my life, me and Uncle Spencer didn't hang together, you understand. I mean, I never went to church, and I can't recall one time him coming down at the bar to hear me sing. So I was kind of wondering what the old boy wanted. I got on the phone and said, Uncle, what do you need? He said, Greg, I need to talk to you, son. I said, well, what about it? He said, well, listen, this is private. He said, do you think we could meet somewhere? And I said, well, I guess so. And so we decided to meet at Atlas Food Store parking lot in Pontiac, Michigan. I remember I drove about 15, 20 miles over to Atlas Food Store, pulled in the parking lot. Uncle Spencer's sitting there waiting for me. I got out of my car, got into his car, and I sat there and I said, Uncle, what you got on your mind? He kind of looked at me and said, well, you know, Greg, he was stuttering and stammering around. Anybody knows my Uncle Spencer McCool knows he's always got something to say. He's a great man of God and an awesome speaker, but I seen he was upset. And I said, Uncle, what's wrong? He said, Greg, I'm going to have to spit it out. He said, God has been dealing with me about you. And I thought to myself, oh my God, here comes another one of them better start coming to church stories. I heard 100 of these things, and I didn't really feel like hearing another one. So I bulled up on the other side of the seat. Y'all know what bulling up is? Now, little kids do this a lot when they get mad, and adults do when they act like little kids. I bulled up on the other side of the seat. I remember the first words that come out of his mouth was this. He said, you know, you're probably thinking this is one of them better start coming to church stories, ain't you, son? He definitely got my attention in a hurry. He said, Greg, he said, I've been fasting, I've been praying for you, son, for over 2 weeks now. He said, and I've come to a breakthrough. He said, I have a word from God for you. And Pastor, even though I was the furthest thing from even being a Christian, I knew when Spencer McCool told me he had heard from God that he had, because I know the caliber of man he is, not just because he's a McCool, but this is a man who will stay on his knees up to 44 days he's fasted. Every year he has a prolonged fast, at least 30 days, but most time it goes 40. 44 days is his record. That ain't me, folks. I'm on a 4-hour schedule like a baby. I got to be fed. So he said, I sat back in the seat and he began. He said, Greg, he said, whatever has a hold of your life. Now I want y'all to listen real close. He said, Greg, he said, whatever has a hold of your life right now, he said, God has showed me that through the prayers of your parents and the prayers of your family, are y'all listening close? Through those prayers, he said, they have built a hedge of protection that's been prayed around you. He said, that's why you've never been in trouble all these years. That's why you've never got picked up by the police. That's why you've never had any problems with drunk driving, even though you've told me before that I've driven home and not even remembered getting there. I've been so high on drugs I didn't know where I was at. And he said, but God has showed me that hedge is fixing to be torn away. And he said, Greg, when the hedge is gone, you're going to die. And when you die, you're going to die lost. He's very plain spoken. He said, I got some advice for you. I thought, oh boy, here it comes. Them preachers always got advice. He said, I'd like to tell you, get the Holy Ghost, start living right, get your act together, come to church. He said, I can't do that. And I thought, well, that's rather odd, a preacher telling me not to come to church. He said, Greg, he said, this is the strangest advice I ever give anybody, but here it is. He said, if I was you, he said, I'd quit that job down at the bar and get me a regular job somewhere. And I'd get away from all the alcoholics and drug addicts you hang around with. He said, and I'd take my wife and kids and I'd move away from this place so fast, maybe move down south or something, get away from it all. I sat there on the front seat of that car, my heart thumping 90 miles an hour. I don't remember what I did, but I remember what I said. I said, you been talking to Huey? He said, no, Greg, I haven't seen Huey in months and months. I said, Uncle Spencer, I said, 7 days ago, Huey got me off to the side and told me word for word what you just said. Now, you get the picture here? This is a United Pentecostal preacher and a biker that told me exactly the same thing. He said, Greg, you better listen. Something's happening here. He said, look at this. He unrolled his sleeve, and Pastor, there was goosebumps all up and down his arm. Brother Shock, what he didn't know was them same goosebumps was crawling up and down my back. I was scared to death. But I hugged his neck and told him I appreciated him talking to me, and got out of the car and went and got in my car. And when he drove out across the parking lot into traffic, and I closed the door in my car, my whole world collapsed around me. And I